Welcome back. This is probably one of the like. There's been a couple episodes that I've done that is just like I don't know where the hell this is going to go. So this is one of those ones that is going to be. I'm going to have a lot of fun doing it, and hopefully you have a lot of fun watching it. So I'm here with a guy by the name of Travis Tingle. I would call a friend. A former player, a former colleague, a former confidant, or still, no, I guess a confidant now, soon to be a friend again because he's moving back to Louisville and a client. So there's a lot of stuff going on here, but I want to introduce Travis Tingle. What is your job title at Pitcher Performance Lab?
I would say my job title is the pitching coordinator at Pitching Performance Lab.
So
yeah.
So a little backstory. I took a job as an assistant coach at Butler High School. Was it your junior year or your sophomore year?
Junior.
What year was that?
Yeah, it had to be my sophomore year.
Yeah, so the head coach at the time was like, we got this kid, and then we got this one kid. I don't know what to do with him. And I this is me tooting my own horn. I was like, he's going to be our starting shortstop. And he's like, no, he's not. I was like, yeah, he is. This kid's got it. And lo and behold, you become our starting shortstop, our number one pitcher.
Yeah.
Went to Cleveland State Community College, then to the University of Louisville. Yeah. Played some professional ball up in
Chicago. And then 6 months in Australia.
Then he ended up coaching at a small NAIA school in
St. Louis, Missouri.
St. Louis, the University of Toledo.
Yep.
Carson Newman.
Yep.
And now he's running the Pitching Performance Lab here in Louisville, Kentucky, where he's born and raised. And there's a lot of people in Louisville excited about you all coming back if we can find you a house.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing at Butler was the history that some of the guys had walked through there and going there. My dad went there. A lot of my family went there, and just being able to play baseball. I mean, you're always trying to find your way. And at that time you had the kids that won the Little League World Series had just gotten into high school, and you're at the same school with them, and you're like, well, that kid won the Little League World Series, so he's going to play. Like, what do I got to do? So I was trying to get on the field any way possible. I remember my freshman year, I played outfield.
Play a little first base?
Play first base. Like, I just wanted to get on the field. Like, it didn't matter. Like, you wanted me to catch, you want me to, whatever.
I'm going to figure it out.
And then JV year, sophomore year, I really started pitching. And we played Mel, and there was some crazy stat that the Mel JV team hadn't lost a game in 2 years. Well, we turned around and beat them.
Right.
So now it was like, okay, now you can pitch too. While I was playing short. And then from there on out, once I kind of got green lighted my junior year on varsity to be shortstop, and they moved the senior over to second base, it was kind of like, all right, now what can we do with this, and where can this take me? Because growing up and all the little baseball players roaming around know it, it's like that's your aspiration. Like, go play college, go play for the state college or the one that's in your backyard in the city.
Yeah.
And then hopefully professional aspirations come about it. But when you see the guys do it on TV at the highest level, and if you have athletic aspirations, that's what you always want to do.
And I say we had a run because I'm a 97 grad of Butler High School. We beat the perennial PRP in the opening round of district in 1997, which is the kind of, again, I'm not being humble here. I put that as like the turning point of Butler baseball there for a while. Then we had Seth Bynum and Mike Eilers, Foley, Chris Duval, and then, so Duval ends up going to Louisville. Travis ends up going to Louisville. McGrath ends up going to Louisville. Lucas ends up going to Louisville. And for literally 4 or 5 years in a row, we had a Butler, not only a Butler player on the team, but you all were captains.
Yep.
You all won the Omaha World Series. You're in the starting lineup in Omaha, representing Shively in Omaha in the College World Series. Is a fun time.
Yeah, I mean, I remember going to the game that Duval made a diving catch out in, like, it was crazy at Holy Cross. I think they were playing PRP, I think, in the district final. Again, I think they were the number one team in the state.
Yeah.
And he makes his crazy diving catch out in, like, the outfield, foul territory in left field. And it's like, when you see guys like that and you go watch them and they've done it, and then you end up seeing where they went, it's kind of like, all right, I want to do that too. Especially, like, you're 2 years behind him, but like he's playing the position that you want to play.
Yep.
And then being able, and I don't know if McGrath and Lucas thought the same way of me, but being ahead of them and being the senior on the team and they were around, it's like you kind of show them what can happen or lead that way. And for them, it happened. I mean, McGrath going to Louisville, Lucas, I mean, he filled in right in. I mean, Lauder, the new coach, he was trying to play him as a freshman when I was still there. So obviously he had the potential in his helmet. My dad,
I said, he's not going to play in the game, but I want you to watch this kid play, take ground balls at short behind Travis. So,
I mean,
yeah, good time.
And he had him playing football all those times at Butler too. I mean, he had the mental capacity that he needed to play at Louisville.
And his dad was a football coach.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you remember this, and I couldn't put it on a timeline. You came to me one day and said, tell me what I need to do to be the best shortstop in Jefferson County. Do you remember?
Yeah.
We were in the weight room.
Yeah.
And I don't even remember. I don't think I've ever had a 15-year-old ask me that question. I was like, oh, you better get to work.
Yeah. I mean, and that I kind of test a lot of the stuff that I do, and what's made me is like, you see all these facilities pop up. There wasn't that stuff when I was growing up, but
no,
like
I told you,
but you open the door, like you open the door to the weight room, you open the door to the field. So it's like, even though it wasn't a facility, like you kind of did it for me already. And then my dad taking me there, like
I told you to grab a tennis ball and just start doing short hops.
I mean, I don't know if anybody even knows this, but like that senior, junior summer, like I remember basketball came to me and was like, hey, we want you to play basketball. And everybody's like, no, because as soon as you turn your ankle or do something like that, like you're going to be out.
Yeah.
So I remember every day after school, my dad would drive up after working a 16-hour shift. He sent me ground balls at Butler's Field right after school. He's soft tossing to me in the cage, like all that stuff. And then I played in some like all-star thing in Toledo, Ohio. And they talked about the person that housed me was like the track coach at Ohio State. And my dad got to talking to her and was like, what do you think needs to happen to take the next step? And she was like, the weight room is huge. And I remember you telling my dad you set me up with somebody downtown, and I went to a personal trainer that whole off season.
Yep.
And that's what happened. But I think like,
and it came out of senior year, we put you in the 2-hole and you hit a home run your first at bat. Like, let's go.
I mean, I think it's just having people around me that believed and that already did the hard work.
Yep.
Like my dad's probably the hardest working dude I know.
Yeah. Your dad's a grinder, bro.
Yeah.
Like there is no doubt in my mind that you are the creation of your father. We had an opportunity to work together. I had a little landscaping company. He needed some extra, I think, probably to pay for you to go to the strength trainer. But he would literally work 24 hours a day if he could. I don't know how he ever did it. It was crazy.
I mean, like I said, grandpa the same way.
Yep.
The parents couldn't get me. He was taking me somewhere. Like I said, you open the door and like at least being there, because I remember. It was in the summer. Like you were telling me to come to the track at 8 a.m. and then we were going to lift. My dad was going there and lifting with us and still lifted more than us. And he just got done working. I was like, what is going on? So
I can't remember if I'll probably have this story wrong. I saw a picture of your dad in a yearbook, maybe my father-in-law's house or something. And he wore number 15. And I don't think you two ever made that connection.
He wore number 5.
Number 5. That's what it was. Okay.
And then my JV year, I wore number 1.
Uh-huh.
And my mom and dad were always like, my mom was always like, you need to wear 5, like be like your dad. And I was like, in my head, like I want to kind of forge my own thing.
Right.
Well, I just add the 1 to it. I keep the 5. It's 15. And then it's crazy because everywhere I've been, so Cleveland State, I was 32. 3 plus 2 is 5.
Okay.
And then I go to Louisville and I was 25.
Your second, like the second iteration. Yeah.
So it's like 5 was always around.
Now, did you get to pick the 5 or did it just kind of happen?
Well, at Louisville, they sent you a list. I'm in class and I get this list and I was like, newcomers, what numbers do you want? And I rattle off like 5 numbers of Coach Limo. And I should have looked at the roster to see who was coming back, what numbers the coaches wore, and I rattle off, and I didn't get any of them. And they sent me with this one, but it equaled 5. So, and I didn't get to pick anything at Cleveland State. So,
did you got to make a start in Omaha, or were you in the bullpen in Omaha?
No. So the year they went to Omaha, I was actually the student assistant.
Okay.
We lost to Arizona in the regional, and I closed out game 1 against New Mexico State to put us in the winner's bracket. But that Arizona team was absolutely loaded. I think at the end all, they end up having 9 big leaguers on that team, and they end up winning it all.
Is that Pat, or is that after?
No.
I'm thinking Arizona State, aren't I?
Yep.
Arizona's the
Wildcats.
Wildcats.
Yep.
Yeah. Who's their head coach?
He's not there anymore, but I can't remember.
Speaking of head coaches, you've played for some legends. Greg Lauder will go down as one of the, I would say, probably top 20 Louisville area coaches. And then you play for Coach Mack.
Yep.
You play for Mike Polycastro at Cleveland State.
Just retired.
Which I don't think anybody around here understands what his contribution is to Tennessee and junior college baseball. And then Tom Griff.
Yeah.
At Carson Newman, who could be a big league coach. I mean, honestly, like probably top 5 catching coaches in the country.
Yeah, I mean, top 5, I would probably go 1. But I mean,
he's probably number 1. But
if he really wanted to go coach somewhere else,
yeah,
I mean, I don't see.
He could probably write his own ticket.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah. So what was it like playing for Coach Mack?
It was challenging because they just came from his first year. They go to Omaha, and then they go to Omaha again, and it's like the city's buzzing. Like you want to keep doing it and everything. And if you go back and look at it, me and Duval were kind of the first junior college guys that got to Louisville.
Right
now, it's kind of they get whoever they want, but it's kind of like, all right.
And McGrath was a transfer.
Yeah, and then so it was challenging because he had a expectation.
Yep.
I mean, and you got to live up to that or not trying, honestly.
Here's the standard.
Yeah. So, I mean, the way he goes about his business, the message that it was a rude awakening going in and seeing guys at that caliber that I've always wanted, like draft eligible guys, like guys out of high school that got drafted and they're playing. These kids are freshmen. I'm a junior. I'm like, dude, like, I don't know where I fit in.
Right.
Like, I remember texting my buddy and I was like, dude, like, I don't know if I did the right thing. Like, how am I going to fit in? Like, I started the last 2 years at junior college. I'm going to come here and they already got 2 of the 3 starters already set. So it's like, and I go back to what I've always done. And it's like, if you want it, you got to go get it and you got to work and let the chips fall where they lay. I mean, it's how you got to go about life, honestly. So
I talk about it all the time, and I always the best thing for me as a business owner and a business professional has been being an athlete. And the correlation is, and you're going to run into this now that you're running a business, not just and college programs are businesses. But this is a different kind of business. But anyways, long story short is you figure out what you want, and you got to get your mind and your activities lined up to do that. And if your mindset isn't that I can do it, you're never going to get there. If your activities don't add up to, hey, you can't go do a breaststroke to be the best pitcher in college baseball. You got to do pitcher stuff, right? So business and sports always line up. So
I think the best thing they did, and I don't know if they know this, but so I needed a couple more credits to get eligible for Louisville. So I came in.
We need to cut this. Like, there's no compliance issue.
No. So I came in when that session started. As soon as you were enrolled in school, you start working out.
Right.
So as soon as I got in that weight room and I found out that what I needed to do, that was probably the worst thing they could do, because the same thing I went to you about. I go to our strength coach, Eric Hammer, who's now runs Propel Fitness 502. And I'm like, hey, like, tell me. He's like, all right, 2 days. So when these guys leave, come back at 4 before your class and we'll do more work. I was there for the rest of the summer, two times. So I was like, all right, I'll do it.
You tell me what to do, I'm going to do it.
Exactly. Because I wanted to show the coaching staff that, like, all right, this is who you recruited. This is who you want here. So I'm going to make sure that people know it too. Like, but like you said, if you want to do something, find how you got to get there. And that's what I got to do.
And you go to people that have done it before. There's the what is success leaves clues. Like, you want to be a successful shortstop in college baseball or a successful pitcher, go find somebody that's done it, because most people are going to pour back into you. Somebody did it for them. And that's, I guess that's the blessing you get now in your current role, is kind of giving a hand back and saying, look, hey, I wasn't a World Series MVP, but man, I did a pretty good job in this business.
And I think that's what Chad and PPL in Lexington, they were trying to get across, is that like, hey, he's done this. He's coached. Like, so like you got kids like, and parents are like, what do we have to do? I can tell you right now, because I was the one on the other end recruiting you. I was on the other end seeing your emails,
right,
what you're putting out, or being at tournaments and showing the showcases that you went to. Like, I know what you got to do.
Right.
And I think that's the biggest thing that I'm trying to imply is like, you see all these facilities, you see videos on Instagram and Twitter, and it's like, kids throw hard. Okay.
Yeah.
But like, they go to these schools and they're not ready.
Right.
And then you get this backlash. It's like, oh, the facility messed them up, or I want to transfer now. And it's like, now you got tension between the facility and the pitching coach or head coach at the school you just sent that kid to. And it's like, well, we got him to here. We thought that's your job, pitching. So it's like, I kind of want to bridge the gap and be like, hey, you're going to have to be able to pitch. And it's just not by just throwing, like, hold runners.
Yep.
Control the run game. Throw strikes.
Change tempo.
Good breaking ball. I mean, I think that's what I'm going to try to imply, because at the end of the day, if a kid's not getting outs.
Right. I don't care. You can throw 80 poo and ground balls. I'll take it all day long.
It's crazy in the game of baseball. The one thing that hasn't changed is you still got to get 27 outs or 21 outs if you play 7 inning game.
Period. Yep.
Period.
That's it. It's simple, not easy. That I love that you said that. And I think I took a. Was that your pitching coach?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was a middle infielder, so I had other than a baseball IQ, I had no business being and I don't think I taught any mechanics. I was just like, hey, let's move the zone. Let's change the eyes. Let's have a mindset.
Coach Griff always says in recruiting, the best pitchers were probably shortstop at one time.
Yeah. We know what's going on. All right. So let's talk about PPL. That's it launched September 3rd officially. I know it's been in the works for a little bit. You're down off Data Vault behind Academy in Middletown.
Yep.
Let's do some, I wouldn't say shameless plug. Let's plug it, man. I'm excited because I went to the facility the other day, and I've been around baseball enough to know that the shortcomings that any facility has had in Louisville, you are going to be able to bridge that gap. Size, capacity, technology out the wazoo. Tell me about it.
I think what Chad Martin at PPL Lexington with Aaron Beard at the Louisville Baseball Club, which is where they're right out of the vault, what they've came up with and what they have offered. I mean, I think it's honestly a no-brainer for some of the reason I came back. I mean, to see the space and to see what's going on, there's nothing like it. And I don't think there's anything in the city that can compare to it, or can anybody come close to comparing to it. But I mean, essentially what we do is we offer development training through the pitching eyes, and how we go about it is, so the first day kids sign up, they get full assessed. It's a correlation between TPI and on-base U assessment. We assess you. We get you on the mound from our data through TrackMan and video through Edgertronic, which is a slow-mo camera, to where you can see the release point off the ball and how you move and everything. Then we begin to write a program for you and show you areas that you need to improve, whether it be mobility, like if you're tightening your hips, shoulders are bad, scaps, T-spine extension, lumbar extension, you can't rotate very well, all things that you need to be a better mover. We'll start to program you that way, and then it'll trickle all the way down to like an actual throwing program that you can do. And the crazy thing is, I don't think people have realized it yet, is like, it's also take home. Just because you're coming to the facility,
right?
Like, the program is a 7-day program. It's a real thing that like kids will get in college to help you prepare to, if that's the level that you want to be at, like you're already kind of accustomed to how you're going to be developed.
Right.
So even if you can't make it to the facility 2 times a week or 1 time a week, you can still do this at home.
Well, it's a diagnosis.
Yeah.
Like, hey, here is how you came to me. And if you want to do X, Y, and Z, here's what you got to, like, you're not going to spend, like, I go to the doctor and he says, you have high blood pressure. Okay. Now I've got to go home and implement what he tells me to do, whether it's exercise or whatever. But so you're prescribing something and giving them the
mobility
roadmap.
To arm care to throwing to the different throwing drills that you'll do. What we want to do is try to centralize what you're deficient at And hopefully, if we can knock down that domino and it can affect another part of you that's deficient, we just killed two birds with one stone. And it's ever evolving. So if you come back and screen again and you're better at some, obviously we're going to take that part out of the program and we're going to try to supplement something else. We also offer weight strength training at the facility as well. So I mean, it's a one-stop shop.
Yeah. I can mess around with getting there. I'm gonna start taking ground balls again.
Yep.
What so talk to me about AAU baseball, like not AAU baseball, that's probably a misnomer. It sounds very specialized what you're doing, and there's a lot of conversation about should athletes be pigeonholed into one sport early on. Are you pigeonholing kids into being pitchers? Or are you teaching kids to be better athletes or better throwers?
It's all the above, because we can do programs for middle infielders, catchers, any other position. I mean, obviously it's geared toward pitching,
right?
But I mean, if a kid, his arm is hurting and they play the field, like that needs to be addressed as well. So I think the safety protocols and keeping kids healthy is probably my number one priority, because I mean, if the kid's healthy, he's staying on the field. Right. If he's not, mom and dad are taking him to a chiropractor or a PT or something. And that's a whole other issue we got to deal with.
And if you can't throw, there's very limited opportunities for a DH.
Yeah. And I think with our hours that we're set up, Monday through Saturday, like if you are at that 1A school like Cal or DeSales or Holy Cross, but you're a good baseball player, but you play football or basketball, like I think that a couple of the hours that we have later in the day, we could accommodate. So like, by all means, I'm not trying to pigeonhole anybody, because I think the more athletic somebody is, the better probably baseball player they're going to be. But if it comes down to it, I was telling my dad this morning, if it comes down to it, and if that's your aspiration, when you decide that it's time to like, I need to go this full throttle, that's why I'm here.
And you did that. Did you play football?
Nope.
No. But you played basketball. You played basketball.
I tried out my freshman year when I was like 5'6".
Okay.
Then I got cut. Yeah. And then I grew that second summer, and we got a new basketball coach, and they're like, can you come out?
You're pretty tall.
I'm good.
I think you might grew another 5 inches in college. So, all right. So age group wise, you're throwing with kids from 9 until you've got professionals coming in there, right? Using the facility.
Yep. So I got a youth group of 6 right now that my little nephew actually came to, which was pretty cool. We got a youth group, 9 to 13 or 9 to 12. And we section them all by themselves. Like they're not around those high school kids. They can see them, but like they're not sharing space. They get their own love and attention. We got the high school kids. We are partnered with 2 colleges right now, Morehead State and Midway, and I think we have a couple on the way. So we do college in the winter and summertime. I mean, we'll be open for kids that come home from college. Obviously, I mean, you never know when it's going to snow, rain, or be 70 degrees here. So,
you know, when I was playing college, that was my biggest struggles when I came home for Christmas break, like how to keep my arm in shape. You can go outside and throw in the cold, but it's tough. And then there's no indoor space that has the length that you need to be able to throw.
Well, being a coach, the 2 things that scared me the most: kids going home from Thanksgiving.
Yep.
Because you don't know what they do. You don't see them every day. And kids going home for summer.
Yep.
Because same thing, except they're at summer for way longer.
Yeah.
So offering that, and I mean, I think being around the coaches that I've been around the past 8 years, like, I'm not saying that I communicate well, but I think I communicate a lot better than what I've used to, especially being younger and getting in. When I first started, I was like, they should know, should know.
But now you have to approach it from, they have no idea.
Yes.
Like you start from there, because if you start making an assumption about what somebody knows, then you might speed right past them and they never catch up.
Yeah. But with the college coaches, I want to be an extension of them, because it's obviously their player.
Yep.
And when I send them back, they got to help them win games.
Yep.
So if I can bridge the gap between 2, I mean, that's what you want to be, because that was the thing. Coaching is like, they go to this facility. What's this guy telling them?
Right.
Like, is he changing his break ball? I like the break ball. I don't want him to change it. Like, what is he telling me? But I've already made it clear to some of the coaches I've talked to, like, you tell me what you want him to be ready to do,
and we're good.
I can do that. Like, if there's one thing I can do, I can get kids ready to pitch.
Yeah.
So if you want me to do that, or if you want me to tweak some, but I want them to let me know. Like, I don't want the kid coming in and be like, I want to add this pitch. Like, if the coach likes you with your fastball, slider, changeup, and you're dominating, like, let's keep it that way.
Yeah.
And then had 3 pro guys the other day, a kid from Bellarmine, a kid that just graduated from Wright State who's actually went to Bullitt East, and full circle, a kid that I coached the last 3 years at Carson Newman that just got finished his first year of indie ball with the Evansville Otters. So, and then, if there's any pro guys listening to this, in-house, free, we'll take care of everything. All you got to do is shout me out on social media and make sure that you're making good remarks about us on social media and everything.
Positive compliment.
Yep, and we'll take care of everything else for you.
So a few weeks ago, I had a guy on here. His name's Mark Maxwell. He owns a big old music store, and he talks about making the pie bigger, which I thought was very unique. And we don't always see that in coaching. Like, there's plenty of kids out there. There's plenty of opportunities. There's plenty of games to win. Instead of the scarcity mindset of like, I'm not going to tell you what I'm doing over here. Like, let's open this thing up and make baseball big enough for everybody, whether you're a pro guy or a 9-year-old.
Yeah,
right?
It's funny that you say that, because like getting into coaching, like none of my guys that I played with like got into coaching. Like, they were done and they got real jobs, and it's like
coaching is a real job.
The biggest thing I learned is like you got to have somebody you can like bounce ideas off of and network, whatever. But like, it seemed like in the pitching world, everybody thought they had the next thing. Right. That had the little secret and nobody wanted to share anything. So it's like, I'm over at the NAIA and I'm figuring stuff out, and I'm like, dude, like, I don't know if this is right. Like, it was basically a science experiment. Like, I'm going to see if this works. Right. If it does, we're going to do it. Yeah. If it doesn't, let's throw it to the wall and let's try something again.
Yep.
And it's like, once I got with Griff and like stretched out and started talking to people, it's like, you started got reinsurance. It was like, okay, that's why that stuff was working. It did work. Like, I kind of knew what I was talking about. Like, because that was my dad.
It's very, very validating.
Yeah. That's what my dad always, when I got done playing, is like, you want to coach? I'm like, dude, no, like, I don't want to coach. Like, but I mean, and that's what, like, I'm open. Like, if people want to talk to me. Like, I'll let you know. Like, you may not like it or you may not agree. Like, there might be a different way I say something, but like, I think I can get you better.
Right.
And I think I can do it the way that I've done it the last 8 years with guys. I mean, I got numerous all-conference guys like Hairston. They hadn't had a 30-win season in their entire existence. We went back-to-back and then led the conference with an ERA at a school that, to be blunt, had no business being in that conference.
Right. In downtown St. Louis.
Downtown St. Louis in a private school conference. And I'm just going to say that downtown St. Louis was not a private school.
Yeah.
And then going to Toledo, we set the strikeout record and all that. And numerous guys and pro baller got drafted, whether it be the regular draft or being an indie ball. I mean, all conference, all region, the last 3 years at Carson Newman, it's like, I don't want to say the proof's in the pudding, but like,
the proof's in the pudding.
Something's got to shake.
Yep. Well, that's right. I mean, again, we go all the way back to Butler. Like, we sent 5. We knew what we were doing, like, and you all knew what you were doing, and now you're paying that forward, and I love it. I mean, let's see. Well, 2 of those guys are one out of those guys we named. 2 coach at the collegiate level, and 1 still in professional baseball.
Yeah.
And I would venture to bet that the other one could have, but he made totally. I mean, that he intentionally made some choices to where he is now, and no fault of it. It's neither here nor there. So, great talent, great kids. And then we're not even talking about the Brauns and the Schneiders and the Jenkins and all the other. I mean, there's a lot of.
I mean, I mean.
All right, let's we're beating down. Not everybody loves baseball like we do. So let's talk about you, a newlywed. You've been married for 3 years now.
Yep.
To Giovanni Fawcett.
Yep.
Can I go ahead and have like draft rights on your if y'all ever do have children?
Yeah.
His wife is probably more athletic than he is.
Coach Griff says the same thing. I mean, she was a highly talented volleyball recruit out of St. Louis, Missouri. She ended up playing at Louisville, and due to unfortunate circumstances, injury-wise, she had to shut it down. But I mean, Griff, when he first met her, said the same thing. He was like, she might be the better athlete out there too. And I'm like, come on. I'm like, nah, I don't
Hey, behind every great man is a great woman, or behind every great woman is a great man.
Well, I told her today, because she's making a decision about what we're doing forward with the house and everything. I was like, hey, don't worry about the decision. You're the smartest person I know. So whatever you want to do, don't hold back on it. Just do it.
Family's feeling all right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Are y'all working an offer down there? Oh, nice.
So
yeah.
She wants to start a bidding war. So.
Yeah, we're gonna have to speed things up. Yeah, shameless. If you have a house in Middletown, St. Matthews area, let me know. We're looking. We've looked at everything, almost everything on the market. So y'all going to end up moving to Louisville, hopefully in the next month or so. Get settled in. The father of a dog named Frost. Mm-hmm. And what else? What else do you know about being a husband? Where are you at in your life journey right now, other than starting a new baseball program, or not starting a new baseball program, bringing a baseball program new to Louisville?
It's funny that you say that, because they always say happy wife, happy life.
Giovanni, I know that to be true in this case. 100%.
And one of the big reasons is time, right? Like, you don't ever get back time. And it's like college baseball, I don't think people really realize how much time gets put into that.
Right.
Like, you say I don't have any kids. Well, the last 3 years I've had 60 kids. Like, those kids, they were my kids. Like, the way I was with them and what I would do for them, like, they were my kids. I've had them at the house. Like, they came and watched the dog when we've had to go on vacation. Like, they were my kids. So, like, but you don't get time back. So, like, the time you spend at the field away, and then I'm very competitive, and everybody that knows me will say that. And I hate to lose. I probably hate to lose more than I love to win.
Right.
And like coming home when it's not her fault at all.
Yeah.
And my mood is like, God, he didn't pitch well today and we lost. Like, he shouldn't have pitched like that. And it's like affecting stuff. It's like, I got to see what I got to do. Mm-hmm. And she works from home. So it's like she sits at home all day, and it's like, what can I do to create more time to where I'm at home, or there's more spontaneous trips we can take to maybe where I had to go recruit, or we got a baseball tournament at the field, or we got a camp. Like, and not to say that stuff was the main reason, because I'm a baseball guy. Like,
right.
That's why I'm still in it.
Yeah, you can't take it out of you.
And if you can attest to anybody, and we've already talked about, like, I'll go to work. Like, if there's one thing I learned from my dad, if there's work to be done, you go do it. Right. Like, there's no excuses with it. So, just trying to create that more time back. And I mean, I say I'm old, but like, you start looking at stuff, because the state my grandpa is in right now, it's like you look at stuff and you start counting back the years.
Right.
It's like, my mom even said it yesterday. She's like, I'm however old. She's like, you got to think I only got 25 left. It's like, you start thinking that, like, all right, now what can we do to live how we want to?
Yeah.
And we can enjoy this time together because I've had friends we talked about the other day. I've had friends that go, and it's like, dang, like,
how old are you now?
Never see that. 34.
So I've got almost 9 years on you. Yeah. They go quick, bro.
Yeah. So I would say being back, it's more about getting time and being able to do stuff that, like, we want to do, and spontaneously, like, if we want to go somewhere, like, I'm off this weekend, or I can take off, like, we got enough people at the facility, let's go. Don't worry about it.
Is she coming up this weekend?
Maybe. Well, it depends.
Yeah. Y'all got a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
But no, you say that, and I remember when I made the decision to get out of college coaching and come back to Louisville, like, it was like, man, like, I miss that so much, but I don't miss it more than being around my family.
Yeah.
And now that I'm totally out of coaching, and I get to watch my kids, like, I miss competing, but I don't miss it as much as I do, watching my kids compete. So,
and I think that's one thing Griff always said. It's like, when you're around a team and everything, no one remembers if you're all state, if you were all conference. Like, you remember the locker room, you remember being in the dugout, like, you remember that stuff. And I think that will be the stuff I miss, is like going into a hostile environment, playing a ranked team, and you knock them off, and it's like, how did we do that? Like, that's awesome. Like, being on the bus and guys are chanting and like eating with them after they get, like, that's the stuff I'm gonna miss. And like, but I mean, I say that, and heck, if kids come through the door, I'm going to have
You're gonna have
all these other.
you're
I'm going to have
200 kids.
120 kids. So
How many kids are signed up right now? How many? Have you
So
brought
right now we have 60 that have registered. I think last week we had 40 walk through the door. Some stuff like a kid being injured and wanted to get cleared.
Yep.
I got a bad message from a kid about a car wreck.
Oh,
so
no.
like stuff like that is affecting some people. And I've told a lot of people, like, I didn't realize how many people really do play other sports.
Mm-hmm.
So like these single A kids that are playing football, like that's their priority right now. So I get that.
Yeah. Well, it's also summer. Like, I don't need an no, I'm sorry. That's not true. But I wonder if that's the psyche. Like, I don't need an indoor facility. It's 85 degrees outside.
Yeah. I mean, and time management, like that's the biggest thing too, is like some of these kids have to have their parents drive them. So you run into that as well. So
Just start an Uber service. You have like, what's the karate thing that drives around and picks kids up? Starts with an H. What's that? Hwangs? Hangs? You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Okay.
I've seen the little van.
Yeah, they'll bounce around to like 3 elementary schools, take kids and go teach them karate. All right. What's the one thing you would tell 16-year-old Travis? You're going into your senior year. 16-year-old Travis.
I would say do more. Find a way to do more.
I don't know if you could have done more, bro.
That's what I'm saying. Honestly, a better one should be like, what would I have told junior year, senior year in college, Travis? It would have been to do more, because I think I got to where like I was. And like when you're in college, like I thought like we're doing the most we can. Like you got a strength coach. They're telling you when to lift. They're
What
telling
to
you
eat.
Exactly. So it's like that. Like, how about that? I would have took sleeping, nutrition, and
really?
recovery.
Yeah.
I mean, being in the city, you're from the city. You got friends at the school. You got friends that are outside, but like,
Well, 45-year-old Jimmy's going to tell 34-year-old Travis, get in a good nighttime routine. That is the game changer right there, bro.
I got to put down the phone.
And it keeps you from sleeping. Yeah. So I actually have a mentor that said, everybody talks about win the morning, win the day. And there's like, no, your morning routine starts when you go to bed.
Yeah.
So so reverse engineer from there. Not like I'm going to get up at 4:30. I'm like, okay, so what do you need to do to be able to get up at 4:30 and be functional if that's what you're going to do? There we go. I'm going to hold you accountable to that.
Yeah. Well, I went from remembering stuff, not taking notes, to I got Post-its all over my stuff. So, because I want to make this as the process of this building opening up and kids getting in there. Like, I don't want just a kid to walk in or a family to walk in and be like, what the heck did we just like?
Right.
What was that? Like, I want it to run smooth. Like, I want to make sure I'm meeting the parents and making sure like they feel comfortable letting their son do this. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing is developing people.
Yep.
I mean, we're a baseball player, but like when it's all said and done, you got to do something else.
Well, this entire experiment of the world is about people.
Yeah.
Like the relationships we have with people, how much we can bring people up. Unfortunately, how people intentionally and unintentionally push people down instead of lifting them up.
Yeah.
Got to grow it. All right. We got a few minutes left. I always talk about peace, profit, and purpose. So you want to hit those 3 things. Profit for you would be, I mean, it could be profit on your business, but it could also be, just how do you know you won a day or win a month, whatever. So hit those 3 things. Why are you here on this earth? What brings you peace? And how do you know you're winning?
I think how do I know I'll go with winning first is like how many people I'm impacting. Like people are reaching out, they want to be a part of this. Like I got a couple of guys that are at Bellarmine that are free help, like interns, and like if I'm impacting them to grow them, because like they've told me that this is something they want to do. So like I got to kind of mentor them to be ready for their next step as well if baseball is done after this year or whenever it's done. So like I would say impacting people. Like you never know what you could say or do to change a kid's course like you did with me. Like that's all probably a kid needs. He needs somebody to tell him the truth.
Right.
So if you can do that, I think that's the win. Like money, whatever, like I think you impacting people and changing their course is probably cool.
Have you been around or at least circled back long enough? Because I'm really starting to see it now when I see former players. They say things that I said, and I'm like, I don't remember that, but I could see myself saying it. Like those one little like set quips or sound bites that stick with kids for the rest of their lives, and you don't realize it at the time how impactful that is.
And I don't know at Carson Newman the last the last times I was there, like the guys, I don't know if they were being sarcastic and they're saying the stuff I would always say over and over, but it's like, you're saying it because you remember it. Exactly. And it's crazy because Coach Griff, he has this story every time, is like his biggest thing with like kids that want to weight gain, like chocolate milk, like all this stuff. And he said he had a kid come back like after summer ball and he looked good, put on weight. And he's like, yeah, like a kid told me I just need to start drinking chocolate milk when I go to bed. And Coach Griff was like, like I've heard that before. So.
All right, so you're winning it. You're winning by impacting people. Why were you put on this earth, and what gives you peace?
Maybe I was put on this earth for that too. Okay. I mean, so everybody's got a place for something. I mean, so far, the work that I've done, it's been in group settings. It's been around people from various places. Like, it's crazy because we go to family functions and I sit in the room and I don't really say anything to anybody. So my parents are like, not standoffish, but he's quiet. He's quiet. But like, they've seen me the last week talking to people and they're like, what is going on? Right. Like, and not that I'm a salesman, but like, you got to get to know people in some sort of fashion for them to trust you. So,
right. Well, they're going to go somewhere to do baseball.
Yeah.
They've got to trust you that you're the place that they go to do baseball.
Yeah. So I guess that's got to be it too. I mean,
all right, using baseball to impact people.
Yep.
All right, you can do that. All right, what brings you peace? What is the worst day in the world, and you get to choose whatever it is you want to do that you can recenter and get some peace back in your life.
Worst day in the world, it'd probably be, and it sucks right now because she's not here, but like going home and hanging out with my wife. I mean, she's an athlete, so she gets it. Her mom and dad have been around, her whole family's been around athletics. So it kind of gets like, when it gets going, it's busy and it's hectic and everything. So just being around and we're not, by all means, are we not like outgoing people, but like just to be able to relax and turn on the TV and just sit there and just be in each other's presence.
Yep.
Like we don't even have to talk.
On your phone?
Yeah. She's on TikTok. Yeah. You got to cut that one out. No, but just being in each other's presence while being present, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, with her, I mean,
I will tell you, I had a moment this weekend and I was like, this is perfect. And I was literally doing nothing except sitting in a chair next to my wife, watching our kid warm up for soccer.
Yeah.
I was like, I wouldn't trade this second for anything in the world. But bro, I can tell you, other than your mom and your dad, I am probably the happiest person that you're coming back to Louisville. So I look forward to hanging out.
I appreciate it.
Anything you want to say before we get off here?
I just want to say that if the coaches that I've had do listen to this, like, this is all a testament to you guys. You, Wolf, Lauder, Bryant.
Yeah.
I mean, even though TJ didn't coach me, but TJ's got an influence. I mean, the coaches that I've been allowed to coach with, CJ Bilbrey at Harris Stowe at the time, now he's at Mississippi Valley State Division I. I mean, giving me my first job. Being at the facility with Matt Whiteside and Dave Pregon, who ran All-Star Performance in St. Louis. I mean, having them trust me to do all that. And then Rob Reinstedel and them guys at Toledo. I mean, ultimately, like Coach Griff, it's kind of full circle because if people know, like, he recruited me out of high school as well.
Yeah.
And then Mike Policastro, which they were best friends. Them being in my corner for the last 3 years as well.
All right, bro. Again, happy you're back. Thanks for coming, and shout out to PPL.
I appreciate it. Thank you.